Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints episode 214. Your weekly get-together, we talk about recent gaming news. I'm, as always, your host, Stephen Brown, and joining me today is...
I'm David, and I've said my name right 3 times.
Yeah, because I keep screwing up the intro, David. Thank you for pointing that out. Tonight, XCOM gets a spin-off, Crysis is teasing something, but we don't know what yet, and even more Resident Evil and Silent Hill rumors. There has to be something to these at this point, David.
Yeah.
But first...
Probably.
But first, before I get into any of that, I want everyone here to know that this is an audience interactive podcast. So if you're watching every Tuesday at 8 p.m. here at Twitch TV/GamePoints, feel free to join in the conversation, much like Wallrider has already done so in chat. If you're tuning into us later, however, over at youtube.com/GamePointsPC, feel free to comment down below as well, and we try to answer that in a timely manner. The only thing that I ask is that you keep the comments germane to the conversation at hand. Otherwise, I'm really not going to have the relevant information to comment on them. David.
Yes.
Let's talk about what I already talked about once before, but since I was an idiot and had myself muted, let's talk about the fact that I fell down that Teamfight Tactics hole.
Yeah, dude. That's pretty funny. I don't know if my burn is as sweet now, because I already used it.
Yeah, you've already used it, unfortunately. It's not something I'll ever stream. It's not something that I will play publicly or competitively, but there's something about it that is slightly addicting enough to have running in the background as I'm doing other things.
Yeah, auto chess is a interesting genre. It's a time waster, more or less. That's vaguely competitive, but has a very serious randomized element to it. So it's like playing dice. Like, you can be good at playing dice, but it's still dice.
It's a poker kind of thing, where the really good players at poker tend to be the same group of people over and over again. So if it was truly random, you would see different people over there all the time. But that does not guarantee someone can win through strategy. There is a lot of luck involved in this.
Yeah, for sure.
But I like it more than I thought it was. I will say it kind of, if you're new to it, it has a learning curve a little bit like a brick wall, because everything's just confusing and you're like, what the fuck does any of this do? And the game does not.
Especially if you don't play League of Legends.
And I don't. Yeah, I don't. So that was very interesting to get into. And the game does a really poor job of explaining itself. And really the only way that you can get into it is to play against other people. And it's not like matches are quick. Like, sometimes get knocked out real quick.
It's like 40 minutes.
Yeah, sometimes they can take a long-ass time. 20 to 40 minutes on average from what I've seen. But yeah, that is what I have been doing, as well as more Satisfactory and a little bit of Final Fantasy VII. What have you been up to? Anything?
Mostly more Satisfactory. The new season of Warzone hit, so I've been playing a lot of that.
Anything to do with that?
And
like, what comes of a new season of Warzone? I'm out. I'm taking a break from it right now.
All of the gun drops are completely different. They raised loadout prices to be it's like 10K now.
Oh, okay.
They added 4-man squads to it, so you can run with 4 people. But yeah, it's kind of a different meta, more or less, because people aren't rushing their own loadouts. They're using more of the dropped randomized guns, because they're a lot better than they used to be.
Okay.
So it's pretty fun.
Is it still the same price to bring someone back from the dead?
Yes.
Okay. So it was only the personal loadout that changed.
Yeah, I mean, some of the prices that were adjusted, but I know that one's the same, and the loadouts got very expensive. Okay,
sounds good. Let's go ahead and get into the news of the week, David, now that we've established... I can talk. Let me get something to drink here.
All right. Well, we could talk about things that are relevant to this week, as opposed to things that we already did.
Yeah.
We're a news show. We got news. At least some news. More news than we've had recently, maybe.
Now let's go ahead and start off with the first topic. Coming out today, just announced, XCOM is getting a spinoff called Chimera Squad.
Dude, how excited are you for that? A blind XCOM announcement that's not XCOM 3.
So here's... I can't hate it too much. In fact, I don't actively hate it. I am actually looking forward to playing this. Hopefully I'll be getting the code for it sometime next week. We'll see. But it is not XCOM 3. And when I first saw it, I will admit, when I watched so there's 2 trailers that came out for it. One is the gameplay reveal trailer. That's the first one that I saw. And that was a mistake. Because if you watch the gameplay reveal trailer, it almost looks like a phone game. And I started to lose my shit, because I was like, this is Dungeon Keeper Mobile again. This is that fucking Command and Conquer game again. This is them making an XCOM phone game, because it's all like comic booky and everything like that. And you don't see gameplay. Then they also showed a gameplay overview trailer, and I was like, okay, I can get behind this a little bit more. It's definitely smaller in scale. It's focused around one city instead of the globe. So think XCOM Apocalypse if you're an old school XCOM player, or UFO as some people might know it as. It is focused on a specific set of characters, so you're not going to be making your own characters and naming them your friends' names is enough to die. There's like a squad of, I think, 7 to 8 people, and you're sending them in there. It is set 5 years after the events of XCOM 2, where humans and what's left of the aliens are working together and trying to bring harmony to the planet, because a lot of the alien overlords were defeated, but you still have like a lot of their foot soldiers. I guess they got some sentience back or something. It kind of runs a little bit counter to the lore, but I'm willing to see how they explain it away. It's not turn-based in the idea that your entire team moves in XCOM and then the enemy team moves. There's kind of like this priority list of characters and when they take their actions, and it seems to be alternating between your team, opposing team, your team, opposing team. Everyone gets to move like one person.
Gotcha. It's not like a base speed meter like Divinity or an RPG like that.
Yeah, it's not like that. It seems to be along those lines. They look to be abilities that let you jump ahead of other people. But the closest thing I could think of is think like Final Fantasy X. Remember how they had like that list of this is when people are going to act? Something along those lines. Breaching's a mechanic now, so the XCOM 2 had this thing where you can kind of stealth up and do the ambush to start the mission. Here it seems to be kind of a Rainbow Six style, not Rainbow Six Siege, but like old Rainbow Six, where you surround a room and then
kick in a door.
Yeah, you kick in the door and everyone comes running at once, and you get some bonuses depending on where you enter from. That's what really intrigued me. I was like, okay, I'm into it. I like the idea of it. When's it coming out? Well, it turns out it's like next fucking week or 2 weeks from now. It's like it's the 24th. Yeah.
And it's $20.
And it's going to be $20.
But it's currently on sale for $10.
Yes. So
the question I have for you, guy that's a huge fan of XCOM, I don't know if you ever sat down and played through Phoenix Point.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Of the two announcements, are you more excited for this mini XCOM spinoff, or were you more excited for Phoenix Point?
I was more excited for Phoenix Point at the time, but having played through Phoenix Point and then getting to the final mission and saying, fuck this, I'll just look it up online, I'm actually more excited for Chimera Squad now. So I am a little bit tainted on that question because I hated the way Phoenix Point came to a conclusion. There's a lot of issues that I had with Phoenix Point, but that final mission specifically was just like, I'm out. Fuck this.
Also, if you have no idea what we're talking about, Phoenix Point is like a kind of spiritual successor to the XCOM games made by the original creator that was, I believe, an Epic Store exclusive, and I think it still is.
I believe so, too. I think they have it for a year. The price is right for it, however. $20 sets my expectations perfectly for something like this. I expect 6 to 10 hours of a game.
Quick, bite-sized, but a little bit more of that XCOM flair.
Right. More importantly, between this coming out next week and the XCOM 2 collection coming out on Switch next month, I think this is 2K chumming the waters for an XCOM 3 announcement.
You've been waiting for one of those.
I have been, and we're due for one. I know for a fact we're due for one. I have hinted on this show before that people have been relaying to me information, and I'm not going to get into details about what's coming up with the XCOM. Now, it sounds like a lot of the stuff they were telling me is matching up to this Chimera Squad thing. So that rules out me hearing anything about XCOM 3. Like, for example, the breaching mechanic, I was told something similar about 6 months ago.
Gotcha. And you're assuming XCOM 3, but now it's more
right. It's probably this.
But that doesn't mean those features won't necessarily be in the next game.
Exactly.
We don't know if there even is a next game.
Yeah.
So if you want one, maybe buy this one.
Yeah, and I get the feeling, though, that they would not be releasing these two XCOM-related things if they weren't having a big XCOM announcement within 2 months from today. I will say by July 1st, which is about 2.5 months, I believe. May, June. Yeah, about 2.5 months. We will have an official announcement of XCOM 3. And it makes sense, because if E3 was actively still running this year, that would be where you announce it. Or at least stuff leading up to it.
Sounds good to me.
What's your stance on XCOM?
I like the XCOM games, but never as much as you did.
I just love them. God damn it, I love them.
I like strategy games in general. They're a bit more tactical. They always had that like permadeath mechanic, which is cool in those kinds of games. And then I didn't play a ton of the second one, but there was that mod that came out for the first one.
The Long War.
Long War. And
which
that
like
was
quintupled
awesome.
the length of the game and added extra.
That was super cool.
I
So
want to
did
say
get into
that Jake Solomon, the creative director behind XCOM, straight up said, "Yeah, our game is for tutorial. The Long War is the actual XCOM game. Go play it." I believe. I could be getting my quote. Who? I remember someone saying that on the development team. It could be Jake Solomon. Could be someone else. But
Yeah,
someone on the team straight
really
up said,
cool. I played a good amount of that.
Yeah, the mod is what you actually want to play. Our base game is just for tutorial for that. And I've played the Long War. It is long. it takes your base XCOM game, and it easily increases it by threefold.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not kidding when they say the Long War. It is rough. So yeah, new XCOM spin-off coming, secretly announced today, coming next week. I will be playing it on this channel. I'm hoping to get a code by early next week, if not sooner. But if not, I'll still show up for $10 or $20 if I miss the sell and play it then. David,
there you go.
Why don't we talk about some internet's rumor circle jerking? Let's go ahead and move on to the first
Speaking of things that have been a long time, how about Crysis? Remember that franchise?
I do. The whole
remember it being the benchmark setter for PCs?
And no shit, the first Crysis was literally still a benchmark for PCs all the way as recent as like 2 years ago.
Yeah, dude. That game was insane.
Until the 10 series graphic cards came out. So maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but until the 10 series of graphics cards came out for NVIDIA, that game was still considered a good benchmark test.
Yeah, Crysis looked really, really good. And I think Crysis... So this is a funny thing. I never actually played Crysis, but Crysis Wars had a mod that turned the entire game into a MechWarrior game.
Really?
It was like a BattleTech mod for one of the Crysis games. So I did buy Crysis, but I immediately modded it and just played this MechWarrior game online. And this was before we had MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. This is before BattleTech was announced. This is before we even had MechWarrior Online. Like, this is Crysis Wars back in the day. Get in a mod, get some battle mechs, run around. And a lot of the mechs were actually imported from, like, MechWarrior 4 or from Mech Assault. And
so they just lifted the models and stuck them in there.
Yep, but they used the rendering engine from the Crysis game, so it still looked pretty damn good.
Awesome. I never heard of that. So yeah. I did play the original Crysis. I remember when the original Crysis came out. I was blown away by it. Not just like visually, because I hadn't seen anything do that really. I mean, the first Far Cry kind of screwed with it a little bit, but never got as into it with it as Crysis did. But I went into Crysis kind of blind, not knowing how the plot was going to turn out. And it's not like it's a grand narrative or anything like that, but it goes in a direction I didn't expect. So the original Crysis, it's you versus North Koreans on this island, I believe. But you don't really know why you're there. Turns out, like halfway through the game, this two-way army between you and the suit and the U.S. military and the Koreans on the other side turns into a three-way fight because you're on top of some like buried spaceship. And then from that point on, shit just gets chaotic as hell. As you're literally running, because you know the Crysis suit kind of makes you a superhuman. Mm-hmm. You're running through these battle zones as all three sides are fighting each other.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And the game looks great. But anyway, let's actually talk about the story. The
new story, not the story of Crysis. Oh, one more thing before we get into this I want to mention.
Okay.
Crysis was good. The second one came out, was nowhere near as good. The third one came out, was trash. So this is a series that has been in active decline.
Okay. Anyway, the Crysis Twitter account, is it just Crysis? Is it just at Crysis, I think? Or at Crysis game? I think it's at Crysis.
Crysis.
The last time they tweeted was in December of 2016. So we're talking 4 years ago. Yesterday, they had a tweet saying, receiving data. Today, we had a new tweet that was posted that said, hey, Nomad, you're still with us, ? So
Nomad being the call sign of the character, the main character.
Yeah, so there is some activity on the Twitter feed. Obviously, this doesn't mean anything. Some people are excited for the pending Crysis 4 announcement. Many others are anticipating some kind of remaster collection or something from the original games, which I think is probably the more likely option.
As do I.
Something Crysis this way comes is probably what we're getting.
So if you recall, the people who made Crysis, Crytek, have had some major financial issues over the past few years.
Didn't they have some kind of weird lawsuit as well that they had issues with?
I think they got... That's why I'm trying to look this up right now. I think they were trying to sue someone. Let me I'm just giving this a quick Wikipedia look here. I am not seeing it anywhere, but I think they were once associated with like Koch Media and with the THQ Nordic people. I can't quite remember. I wish I could remember, but I can't quite.
Crytek and Cloud Imperium Games settle Star Citizen law.
That's what it was. It was Cloud. It was the other piece of vaporware. Cloud Imperium Games.
Yep.
They've had some issues over the past few years. There was a time where like they couldn't pay staff, I believe, and people were just working for free for months or some shit like that. I need to refer. We talked about it on the show, but it was literally 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. Yeah, and that was part of that whole lawsuit because Cloud Imperium was originally using the CryEngine for Star Citizen and then pivoted to, I think, UE4 or something.
I think they went Lumberyard, but I'm not positive.
Maybe they went Lumberyard. But there was some lawsuit because they already had like an existing agreement in place. And they're like, well, we're not going to use this. We're not going to pay you royalties anymore. So that happened. And then it was all settled out of court.
The point of bringing all of this up is to help reinforce that idea that I doubt this is Crysis 4. Because a company that is suffering such financial problems wouldn't just be rolling out Crysis 4. What they would be doing is finding a way to make money. And a way to make money in today's video game industry is to remaster something.
Definitely, 100%. They can also be testing the waters, much like that XCOM announcement. Maybe they're trying to get a feel on how people would like a Crysis 4 game. But I don't know that anyone's super excited for one.
This screams. I don't even want to say remake because we have the Resident Evil remakes. This screams.
We have
remaster.
To be very specific now. Remaster is just a straight upscale, nice package, maybe a couple of UI tweaks or something. Re-release of a game that exists. Remake. Since we have the Resident Evil and now Final Fantasy VII, it has a whole new meaning.
That said, I would play through a remastering of the first Crysis.
Yeah.
And see if I can't just crank that son of a bitch up as high as I can go.
Might as well.
While on the topic of remasters and remakes, David, let's go ahead and move on to something that I think we both knew was going to happen, but we both didn't want to happen. This is via...
talk about it.
This is via Video Games Chronicle. If you want to take a look at the link, by the way, all links will be provided in the YouTube description at the bottom. Headline: Capcom is working on a Resident Evil 4 remake. David, this is exactly what we had a feeling would happen, but didn't want to happen because we wanted to see, like, I think both of us were in agreement. We want to see Code Veronica get remade.
Yes, absolutely. 100% I want Code Veronica. You're remastering the tank control original Resident Evil games. Your options are to bring me Resident Evil 1, which did already have a little bit of a remake, or Code Veronica, the game that's the
it's the bastard stepchild of the series, but still really good.
It's the unloved ugly duckling of the series because it launched on Dreamcast. It was technically the 4th game, but it got passed over by everyone and eventually did release on like PS2 and other systems as Code Veronica X, but by that point people weren't playing it because there was another Resident Evil.
Code Veronica's a good kid. Capcom just totally went out to get some smokes and never came back.
Yeah. And the Resident Evil 4 just kind of took all the thunder from it. Resident Evil 4, don't get me wrong, is a fantastic video game.
It doesn't need a remake, though. Because it's such an amazing game, it doesn't need to be remade.
There is nothing you can do, because if they come at it from the formula of making it play like the original games, then it's no longer true to Resident Evil 4. What made that game good? If they add running and shooting, that game loses all of its tension and just is full camp.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound very fun to me.
By the by, this does seem to line up with other things, because once you finally sit down and play Resident Evil 3 Remake, they start alluding to things like parasites in some of the notes, so it made sense that this is happening. To the article itself. Following its reimagines of Resident Evil 2 and 3, multiple development sources have told VGC that Resident Evil 4 Remake has now entered full production with an estimated release window in 2020. Keep them as an aside. 2022, rather, sorry. As an aside, Resident Evil 8 is rumored to be next year, so it seems that Capcom is going to go annualized with Resident Evils.
Also, that part of this article also bugs me because annualizing a franchise is a great way to kill it.
Depends on how you annualize it. If you do...
regardless. Name any franchise that came out every year, and I will tell you that every other year that game is bad.
For us, yes. But not in general. Like
for sales, yes.
For sales, it does really well.
Madden still work.
if they go on this, they could be taking the Call of Duty route with this, where they do an alternating every year. They do, here's our new series franchise,
congratulations, and every other Call of Duty sucks.
Here is our remake Resident Evil, and they go back and forth. Back to the article.
Yeah.
Development is being led by Osaka-based M2, the new studio founded by former Platinum Games head Tetsuya Minami. By the way, M2 also was supposed to stand for Mikami as well, Shinji Mikami, but he decided not to help join the studio because he is still working on Ghostwire Tokyo with Bethesda. You know, that lovely game which brought out, I can't remember her name, but she ended up leaving Tango. Goddamn, I can't remember any of these things anymore. Anyways, he's working on someone else. That's why it was called M2. Shinji Mikami, of course, known for creating Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
So that would have been nice to have seen that play out. And I get the feeling that the original idea was that they would be remaking this game together, but he is now committed to Ghostwire Tokyo, so it is just going to be Tetsuya Minami.
Also, you're thinking of Ikumi Nakamura.
Thank you. I could not remember her goddamn name.
Yeah.
Back to the article. It's understood that the remake has the blessing of the original game director Shinji Mikami, who officially declined to approach the lead project himself, but has provided informal advice on its direction. I can read. I swear to God, I know how to read.
You're doing great today, man. I'm really proud of you.
You know what it is that my throat is very dry and has been for like a day or two because the allergies have been kicking in for me. I do have one, and it isn't necessarily cutting it because it's not that kind of drink.
Here's your problem.
David?
Yes.
Technically rumors, but this is one of those things, once you get multiple sources confirming it, this isn't an anonymous source. This is...
Well, we've gone on at length about how much we want a Code Veronica remake and how it would make sense with what they're bringing back. But there's one thing that we tend to dismiss, just as a general rule, because we are kind of fans first, right? And
yeah. I will fully admit
newscasters second.
If you want a non-biased podcast, this is not it. But at least I will tell you what my biases are up front.
We don't like. Yes.
I will be like, hey, straight up, I can't tolerate this.
We're not in charge of a game company, and we don't look at bottom line. RE4 is commercially the best Resident Evil game, bar none.
I don't think that's true. I think Resident Evil 6 is.
The Resident Evil 2 remake might have hit it, but keep in mind how many flippin' systems RE4's been on.
Yes, but I believe if you're saying bar none, if you're talking raw sales figures, I believe Resident Evil 6 is the top selling Resident Evil game.
Seriously?
Yeah. Go on, finish your thought. Go ahead and go that. I'll look this up.
All right, cool. So here's the thing: is right now I can buy Resident Evil 4 on all current gen systems. You can buy it on Xbox One. You can buy it on PS4. You can buy it on the Switch. You can buy it on PC. You can also go back and buy it on the GameCube, and go back and buy it on, your PS3 and your phone and your Game Boy and every other damn thing that has come out since this game released. Because it's RE4. It's everywhere. It's the game that changed the franchise from survival horror into action horror. I don't even want to call it survival anymore, because while RE4 did keep some of the tension due to the fact that you can't not backstep while shooting, stand and shoot or run, fight or fight. That is the way RE4 controls. That is the way the game kind of needs to stay to keep tension. But it introduced a bunch of new mechanics. It introduced the over the shoulder view. It got rid of the pre-rendered backgrounds. It took it into next gen at the time, and people flipping love it. What are you buying? Like, I still make that joke playing any video game right now. The boat, the giant crocs, like, it's just a funny game. Getting pissed at Ashley for getting grabbed the umpteenth time by another spooky ghoul, so I have to chase him down and throw a grenade at him. People don't remember, but that shit pisses you off.
Yeah. That opening is still one of the best openings to any video game, by the way. The first hour of fucking Resident Evil 4 is one of the stone cold best openings ever.
And that game's really, really fun. Even now, I think that game plays well. So while we have hesitations on it having a remake, and I don't think I need it in my life, who knows? By the time it comes out, maybe it's amazing. And chronologically, guess what? Resident Evil 4 is still more popular than Code Veronica, and again, Code Veronica is going to get the shaft.
So, let's see. The article that I found is of January 23rd, 2019 from Twinfinite, as far as the best-selling Resident Evil games of all time. So the reason why this was taking me so long is I had to find this, and I had to see how much the new Resident Evil 2 remake sold. The new Resident Evil 2 remake sold by December 2019, so about 4 months ago, 5.8 million copies. That was what the remake has sold. The best-selling Resident Evil game of all time as of January 2019, so about a year ago, was Resident Evil 5 with 12.1 million units sold, which is fucking impressive. Before that was 6 with 10 million, and then 4 with 8.2.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 5 and 6 both outsold 4. And 5 and 6 and 4 combined, or on their own, are the best-selling Resident Evil games of all time, which is why they went in that direction. Because 4, I think we've talked about this before. 4 was a great game, but a bad Resident Evil because it.
Yes, and then the franchise got progressively worse, but
Yes.
kept selling because people liked Resident Evil because
Yes.
RE4 brought it mainstream.
Exactly. So that's why they went that route.
That's crazy.
And that's the only information I want to convey, because I knew that it wasn't Resident Evil 4 that was the top selling one. I thought it was 6. It was 5.
Well, okay, it's still RE4 of the games that are considerations for remakes. How's that?
Yeah, Resident Evil 4 of the games on consideration for remakes, Resident Evil 4 is at the bottom of that list. But I'll still play a remake of it.
Yeah, probably.
You know, one thing.
It still sold a ton. Dude, I just checked really quick. RE4 has sold over 1.5 million copies on PS4 and Xbox One.
And that's like
That's
the 5th or 6th port
insane.
of that game.
Yeah, because RE4 is available on GameCube, PS2, Wii, PS3, 360, Android, Steam, PS4, and Xbox One.
It's on Android?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, okay. Yeah, no, I can see it being on Android. Either way, it's a franchise that I think Capcom is, with their reboots, is taking an opportunity to clean up the plot, as it were.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard to be
connect
mad
them all
because they've been
together.
doing so flippant. Like, Capcom's on a heater right now. So
Bitch.
it's really hard to judge them because they haven't been wrong yet. People
Yes.
are a little bummed about RE3 because it's shorter and it's not as good as RE2, but guess what? That's the same as the original RE3.
Yeah, it holds. Imagine that. RE2 and RE3 hold true to what they were originally.
Yeah. Our RE3 has always been the more straightforward game of those two, if you're comparing them.
All right. Anyways, I think we've spent enough time on this
I could
topic.
talk about this all day, but yeah, we can talk about something.
Let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you're down for a Resident Evil 4 remake, I think we're both of the stance of we'll play it, but it's not what we want to see first. If you would like to see any other games, do you think they should go on and remake 5 and 6 after this? Let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah, did 5 and 6 get the full RE engine feel like the 2 and 3 remakes?
Wallrider in chat saying Resident Evil 3 was just a lesser Resident Evil 2. Yeah, I am in the same agreement. It always felt like an expansion pass to me. David?
But to me, it never bothered me because I don't think I bought RE3 at full price.
Let's go from Resident Evil to Silent Hill.
Oh yeah, that's that other survival horror that people really like. That we've been talking about so much these last few weeks that I just... Oh, man.
There has been a non-stop parade of rumors coming out and then people walking them back. But not saying they're not true, just dialing it back a little bit. And then another rumor comes out, and then they dial it back again. And then another rumor comes out, and then they dial it back again. We're now on the upswing again. This article is from Push Square. Headline: Sony has been working on a Silent Hill reboot for 18 months.
That's bold to say.
That is bold to say. That's a long ass time too. Going to the article itself. Here's what we think we know. Japan Studio is working on a series reboot for Konami, with Gravity Rush creator Kenichiro Toyama directing the project. By the way, Kenichiro Toyama, I believe, worked on the original Silent Hill. I think, in fact, the guy, Gravity Rush, was made by Team Silent. I believe. Knock on wood.
Really?
He obviously started his career working on the original Silent Hill, it says in the article right there, so it's a superb fit. Artist Mashiro Ito and composer Akira Yakamoto are also said to be involved. By the way, Silent Hill has an amazing soundtrack where it's not a bunch of pots and pans banging together. That aside, there's speculation that Silent Hills will be making a comeback. Revived recently by Instagram images posted by manga artist Chihiro Maruo, These appear to be separate projects at the moment, and it is unclear how they are connected, even if they exist at all. David, this is essentially...
does track a lot with the rumors that we reported on a couple weeks ago.
That there are two
simultaneous Silent Hill projects in the works.
One being a remastering, rebooting of the first one. The second one being Silent Hill created by a separate team entirely, and with Sony having their hand in both, or rather in the Silent Hills. Going on back to the article. It's the Sony reboot that currently appears to be the further along. According to rumor monger Dusk Golem, by the way, this is the same guy that leaked the Resident 8 rumors last week, with title's production for about 18 months. The story goes that Konami was looking for a partner, and Toyama wanted to return to horror. Sony is footing the project's bill, but believes the brand recognition gives this title a better shot at success than, say, a Siren sequel. Siren is the sadly underrated Sony horror game, which is really fucking cool, because it was told anachronistically, and you can, like, view events from, like, I think 12 different characters. Take a look at it. It was cool.
Is also a Toyama game.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. That is a Toyama game.
Yeah,
Konami will get a percentage of the profits. Apparently, the reboot will be announced this year, presumably alongside the PlayStation 5 slate of in-development titles. David, there's, at this point, too much fucking smoke for there not to be fire here. There are way too many people from different publications, quoting different sources, saying, hey, this shit is happening.
Okay, so I have to go on the record and say, I'll believe it when I see it.
That's a valid report. That's a valid belief when it comes to Konami. But that last bit... Go ahead.
Well, here's the important bit, right? Konami likes pachinko machines, but Konami also likes money. They're probably not making as much money as they once were, and they're sitting on some fantastic IPs. Sony's got a bunch of money. Sony's not currently buying a bunch of studios, so maybe they're working on trying to get their hands on projects they can work on. All of that's believable, and I'm not saying that this is impossible. I'm just saying, if I admit to even the slightest possibility of this rumor being real, it won't happen. So, until the game is in my damn hands, this is fake. This is the fakest of shits, and this will never happen.
It's like announcing Guillermo del Toro is working on your game with Death Stranding being the sole exception. Because every time that fucker tried to do something, it collapsed.
Allow this to be true in my mind, because if I believe it to be real, it won't be.
Chat's saying they smell ruined dreams and hopes and that they doubt this is going to happen. I think
that's
that this
the way
is
it's
coming.
been. Silent Hill has been rumored and hearsayed a million times, and Silent Hills was a thing until the Kojima-Konami split of whenever the hell that was.
I think this is a thing. I think that this is happening. If it comes to market or not is an entirely different story.
That's the fun part, right? Because this game could get to 80% complete, and then somebody can pull the plug, and we'll never hear anything of it.
Stranger things have happened.
Besides a tech demo 20 years from now.
There are games that were fully released and given into the hand, or not fully made and given to reviewers to review, and just never came out. There's one. It's a sports game in particular, and I can't think of it. I think it was one of the NBAs. Yeah. They had the copy in hand. That game exists, and it was never released. So that can happen. Even when it goes gold, that is not a guarantee the game is going to launch.
It's true.
What really, the kicker to all of these rumors that makes me actually think this is true, is that all of them seem to have some variation of saying, Konami is not making this. They are just going to take a cut of the profits.
That Sony is working on it, and Konami is just getting a check.
And that is so
is the most believable part of it.
That so lines up with how Konami is. Yeah, exactly. It just that gives it that air of authenticity that I'm willing to run with. And we'll see if Sony does something with it. David, in the meantime, though, Sony is also doing something else that I actually think is kind of cool. Why don't you go ahead and talk on this one?
This is from the US PlayStation blog. They announced the Play at Home initiative. As a thank you to all who are doing their part to lessen the impact of this pandemic, Sony Interactive Entertainment is pleased to announce the Play at Home initiative. Play at Home has two components. First, providing free games to help keep the PlayStation community entertained at home. And finally, establishing a fund to help smaller independent game studios who may be experiencing financial difficulties continue building great experiences for all gamers. To support Play at Home, PlayStation will try to make those occasionally dull moments more exciting by offering Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection, and Journey available for free. Small asterisk, this is in the US, North America. In Journey and China, users will have access to Knack 2 and Journey for free for a limited time.
So I get why China might object to Uncharted or Journey. I get why they reject it. I don't get why, or specifically Uncharted. I don't get why Uncharted isn't in Germany. I don't know if it's a licensing fee or... Oh, you know what it is? I know exactly what it is, I think. In the first Uncharted game, there's a Nazi World War II sub.
Oh, all right.
And if there's like Nazi imagery in it, Germany has very specific rules, and you have to like redo it. And Sony could just said, fuck that, have knack.
Yeah. Anyway, these are going to be limited time digital downloads from April 15th at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time through May 5th, 2020 at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Once you redeem the games, they are yours to keep. So you might want to look into that because this happens tomorrow night.
Journey's an amazing game. Uncharted Collection is, I think, an amazing game. I know you differ on that.
Yeah, Uncharted is trash, and you're all wrong. But Journey is one of the best games ever released on the PlayStation 3.
Journey's an all-right game. It's all right.
Anyway, independent developers are vital to the heart and soul of the gaming community, and we understand the hardships and financial struggles that many smaller gaming studios are facing. With that, Sony Interactive Entertainment has developed a fund to support them during this time. We've earmarked $10 million to support our independent development partners. More information about the fund, including participation criteria, will be made available soon.
I do want to know the details of this fund, so try to remind me to keep an eye on it, because I want to know, does it have to be games developed on Sony? Is it any game out there? What comes with it?
It's probably going to be PSN-related independent development studios, but who knows?
Right.
We don't know what's coming.
Does this also, though, mean that they're entitled to, like, I need to know the details of this before I say good boy Sony. That said,
okay. Worst case scenario, free video games.
Yeah. We'll see. Oh, David.
Everybody likes free video games.
This next story here.
Even if they're as bad as the Uncharted games.
This next story here is not so much about the topic itself, but just another chance for me to get salty at Blizzard. Not even because of what's going on.
Just because this is an article that relates to Blizzard, therefore we get to be mad at Blizzard.
Yeah.
Hashtag Free Hong Kong.
A note about BlizzCon. You know, I'm not even going to read it because it's full of text speak. All you need to know is that Blizzard doesn't know if they're going to have BlizzCon this year or not.
Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We got to keep on mind what's going on with our community and our employees and whatever else they're talking about.
I don't care about BlizzCon. What I do care is about reminding everyone how BlizzCon fucked everyone over, how they constantly seem to lie to their audience, and how the whole fucking Hong Kong Blitzchung J. Alec Brack's non-apology at BlizzCon played out in 2019. You should go all look that up, by the way. Fuck Blizzard. Free Hong Kong.
Man, we need to find our deep dive episode number and just reference that every time we bring this up.
And especially given recent events. Fuck China.
Harkening back to, GamePoints episode somewhere between 180 and 200. Somewhere in that realm.
This would have been... Yeah, that sounds about right. It would have been around, between August and October. I can't remember when that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am literally just taking that this whole nondescript blog post saying, hey, we don't know if BlizzCon's happening this year or not. I'd probably a little bit more toward is. We'll see how that shakes out. But I wanted to take all of that as just a segue to say, fuck China. More fuck China than fuck Blizzard at this point. Come at me, Winnie the Pooh. I see you there eating your honey. I know you're watching me. I have a webcam on. I know you're fucking watching me.
That's true. That's classic that guy.
That's classic President G, I think it's. I can't remember his name.
I remember about that dude, he's the guy that just wears a red shirt and no pants all the time, right? That's all
and has this horrible addiction to honey. He just craves it. It's weird. It's weird, but like China's honey production has like skyrocketed over the past decade.
As an aside, did you hear that it's harder to get Animal Crossing in China now?
Yeah, because people were saying things like free Hong Kong, fuck China, and everything. Get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What I think is that he just got really upset that every time he went going for trees and the bees would come out and get him rather than letting him get that sweet, sweet honey that Winnie the Pooh is known for. So that's fair. I'll fully admit, remember we were talking about how we will try to report the news, but we're going to be biased as fuck about it? This is one of those segments.
This is a clear example of us being biased, but also a clear example of us being right.
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
David, that's all I wanted. That's the only reason I brought this up. There's nothing else I have to say about it. It's not even about Blizzard.
Classic ass GamePoints.
It's petty as fuck. Why don't you go ahead?
We still don't like Blizzard because fuck China.
Also, admittedly, I'm still gonna play their fucking games.
Hashtag free Hong Kong.
Because I am part of the problem.
You are absolutely. I don't think I have any. Fuck. Modern Warfare. Fuck.
Modern Warfare is not a Blizzard game. They're no fucking active. God damn! I keep forgetting that Activision and Blizzard are the same company because they've done such a good job of keeping those two names separate until recently.
Yeah, completely. But in order to play Modern Warfare, I have to launch the fucking Battle.net client.
Yep.
I never even thought about it because I just have a desktop icon. I click. I want to play Warzone. I don't think about what comes up.
At least you're consistent because you have the same viewpoint of the Epic Store and why you don't care that people are upset about it because it's literally just an icon on your desktop to you.
That's true.
David, let's go ahead and roll into this.
Stock and stuff.
Let's go ahead and roll into this next story here.
Thinking of stuff that I don't have a lot of stock in. This is about the WWE. Anyway, this story's from GameIndustry.biz. The WWE 2K21
Remember they were called the WWF and they
game.
got sued by the Wildlife Foundation?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. And then they merged with the other guys. The Rock and the other guy were on different teams, and then they were all on the same team.
I stopped watching wrestling when I turned like 14.
So did everybody. Anyway.
No.
The 2K21 game has reportedly been canceled in favor of a new game. Reports have emerged that 2K Games will not be publishing its usual annual wrestling title this year. Justin Leeper, who previously wrote narrative for earlier WWE games, published a video sharing details of big changes to the series. Quote, I have heard from reliable sources, and I truly believe that WWE 2K21 has been canceled. There will be no game this year.
It is important to note the main reason why this story, I'm talking about it here rather than just letting it go by the wayside, because we don't report on every single piece of information that comes across. We'd be here for 10 hours. Was that WWE 2K20
was a shit show of a train wreck of a dumpster fire.
One of the most laughably broken things I have ever seen.
It was Mad Catz the video game.
Come on. The Mad Cat's a decent Mac.
Damn, son. No, with a Z, bro. With a Z. Those guys.
Beeps Ghost in chat, by the way, as an aside, but somewhat tangent to the conversation, somewhat related to the conversation, rather, says, WWE just got called an essential business in Florida and will broadcast with an empty arena.
Now, that makes sense. If they're not at home watching wrestling, they'll all be outside getting eaten by crocs.
You know, I'm actually kind of fine with this.
Or alligators.
I'm not too upset. I'm not too upset. We need some things to continue going.
Entertainment still happens. Movies are still getting released. TV shows are still kind of happening. I don't know how they're filming them, but you know, things. We need to be entertained, or we'll all go crazy.
Back to there.
Yeah. Anyway, so Leeper also pointed to the fact that this year's WrestleMania event, historically used as a platform to announce or tease the next WWE game, featured no such news. He alluded to changes behind the scenes, most likely the split between 2K and the series' longtime developer, Ukes.
Yeah, I wonder fucking why.
Right, and that current developer Visual Concept needs more time to become better accustomed with the process of making these games. Leeper also suggested that COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted production and distribution, which will have affected 2K's plans. I feel like 2K sells a decent amount of physical copies, and I don't know why. That's not based on any kind of stats or any kind of research. I just think this is the kind of video game that sells more physical than digital. I could be very wrong.
That strikes me as true too. Also, I feel bad. I might have inadvertently slandered Uke because they didn't make 2K. They didn't make 2K20.
Ah, shit.
They separated ways.
On the internet
they
about
separated ways the year before, after 19, and a different company called Visual Concepts came in, and apparently with maybe no experience whatsoever made that. I can't attest to them not having any experience.
Visual Concepts supposedly are the ones still making this current game.
No. I have heard that. Read the quote again. I have heard that there's also another WWE game this year that 2K is pushing a different kind of WWE game from a different kind of developer that's not Visual Concepts.
That was the next part of the article that I was going to cover, but thanks. Well, his opening claim said there'd be no traditional WWE 2K this year. He did hint at a palate cleanser. That is the other WWE game coming out this year.
All right, so my bad.
2K is publishing a different kind of WWE game from a different kind of developer that's not Visual Concepts. However, Visual Concepts is still part of the crew and will most likely be making the next 2K22 game.
David, I'd like to formally apologize to you. I thought you said that, because I was trying to fact check myself what I said earlier and listen at the same
about
time.
as well as you read. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, when I'm doing them both at once, it doesn't work out, so I apologize.
Yeah.
That was my fault.
Moving on, Leaper also mentioned I could say more on that, but I probably won't because I've probably pissed off a lot of people at 2K already.
So this... it sounds like he's not Justin Leaper. It's not actually working for 2K. I'd imagine he's not working for 2K anymore because he would be NDA'd all to hell. This, however, has a little bit more bite than a anonymous source, however, because this is a dude actually just going on record saying, yeah, this is whatever. So I'm willing to bet that everything he's saying is probably true.
He's probably right. He's probably still friends with a lot of people that are at the business that work with 2K. And I mean, that's obviously not a guarantee that you know things, but he's got points.
He's got connections.
He's got reasons to know things.
And remember, the sole reason I brought this up, much like how the last story was brought up only to bitch about China, the sole reason why I brought this up was to bitch about WWE 2K20.
Yeah, dude, the last 2K game was real horrible. Real bad.
And they charged full price for that son of a bitch. That was a bad game, and they should feel bad for releasing it. And no, I'm not going to go, well, video games are hard, and we should look at... No, that game was fucking trash. It's okay to say something was bad.
Video games are hard, but some video games are better than other video games.
Yes.
And a lot of times, the video games that are slightly worse are a little bit cheaper. This was not one of those video games, and therefore, we have issues with it.
Yeah, if I'm throwing money at it, I expect a product that at least works. David, let's go ahead and move on to the last story of the night, and this falls into the category of about fucking time, but it's kind of too late.
Dude, seriously? This is something that we were, like, demanding, 3 years ago? Anyway, get into it.
The ESRB is introducing a new interactive element, in-game purchases, including random items, a.k.a. the ESRB rating system. You know, when you look at the game, and it's got, like, the little rating on the corner, and you turn it around, and on the back it has all those contact descriptors. They're going to be mentioning if a game has loot boxes in it or not in the contact descriptors. And it actually goes above loot boxes, but I'll let the ESRB themselves explain it. This might take a while. Bear with me.
And by ESRB, he means him reading the ESRB's post.
No, I am the ESRB. I'm the asshole that's been doing it all. Here we go.
Yeah,
from my blog post. From their blog post. In April 2018, the ESRB began assigning interactive elements to physical video games while the in-game purchases and users interact notices. The in-game purchases interactive element informs parents and other consumers of when a game offers the ability to purchase additional items without leaving the game. To provide an even greater transparency about the nature of the in-game items available for purchase, the ESRB will now begin assigning a new interactive element. In-game purchases includes random items. So, for example... before it used to say, hey, there's a chance to spend real world money on this. Now it's going to say, not only is there a chance to spend real world money on this, but the shit that you're spending it on is random. You don't know what you're going to get. So it's a little bit more of a clarification. Sorry, Jukebox here, by the way. I know you expected an actual ESRB representative, but I'm kind of convinced they don't exist. Going back onto the statement. This new interactive element, in-game purchases, includes random items, will be assigned to any game that contains in-game offers to purchase digital goods or premiums with real-world currency, or with virtual coins or other form of in-game currency that can be purchased with real-world currency, for which the player doesn't know prior to purchase the specific digital goods or premiums they will be receiving. For example, loot boxes, item packs, mystery rewards, etc. In-game purchases include random items will be assigned to all games that include purchases with any I put that on here twice. No, I take that back. Sorry, let me start that paragraph over again. In-game purchases include random items will be assigned to all games that include purchases with any randomized elements, including loot boxes, gacha games, items or card packs, prize wheels, treasure chests, and more. Games that have the in-game purchases include random items notice may also include other non-randomized paid elements. David, one of the reasons why it's so hard to read these articles because they write it like in very repetitive business speak.
It's very legalese feeling.
Yeah, because this is an official statement.
Yeah.
So you hear
it makes it read very boring, but they have to say it because at some point in time, all the lawyers decided that the only way they could speak was obtusely.
Yeah. Going on. The original in-game purchases notice will still be assigned to games that offer any other types of purchases, including additional levels, cosmetic items, DLC expansions, etc. However, going forward, it will not be assigned to games with loot boxes, or similar mechanics to ensure consumers clearly understand when the game offers purchases with randomized elements. One of the frequently asked questions was, why not just say loot boxes? Well, the ESRB says that loot box is a term that does not encompass all types of randomized in-game purchase mechanics. They are technically correct.
Yeah,
I'm
actually okay with this.
We want to ensure that the new label covers all transactions with randomized elements. In-game purchases includes random items, accounts for loot boxes, and all similar mechanics that offer random items in exchange for real-world currency or in-game currency that can be purchased with real money. What do you think, David?
Damn time. Seriously, guys. How flippin' long did this?
Years.
Now, the question is, does this affect anyone? Because probably no, right?
No, the loot box is dead. It's no fucking wonder. I take a more cynical viewpoint on this. It's no fucking wonder that the ESRB is finally assigning this descriptor to games, because the idea of the loot box has already been fucking killed by all intents and purposes when it comes to mainstream gaming.
Mostly because gamers actually rose up.
And politicians started sniffing around it, and that terrified the shit out of people, and they went, okay, none of that anymore. Period. End of story.
Battlefront 2, you're done.
Now you got the battle pass.
You over. Now we got battle passes forever. Now I'm waiting for whatever they're going to add for. Includes recurring monetization strategies to unlock fixed seasonal material. Whatever the fuck they're going to try and fit on the back of the box.
First of all, I'm fine if you know exactly what you're getting with it. To a degree. I still think that's kind of bullshit, but at least you know what's coming up. Second of all...
Battle passes, I think, are better than loot boxes.
Because you know what's coming.
Yeah. And if you know you're going to play a shit ton of a game, at least you're guaranteed an amount of... I don't know, but...
Secondarily, however... This is the cynical side of me looks at this and goes, fuck you. The only reason why this is happening now is because loot boxes are dead at this point. So it's a way to look like you're the hero after coming in and the townsfolk have already defeated the bandit.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, yes, I did this. Look at what I did. It's like, motherfucker, you didn't do shit. You showed up at the end of everything and took credit for it. You pulled an America at the end of both world wars. Although, to be fair, we did win both of those.
Back to back.
Fuck you, Europe. Back to back World War champs. That third one's looking kind of dicey, though.
I don't know how I feel about that one.
It's easy to say, hey, we're adding this on here when you're not putting them in your games anymore. And let us not forget, the ESRB is not like some independent thing. They claim they are, but they are a foundation of the ESA, the Entertainment Software Association, which is a lobbyist group made of the big publishers out there.
Yes.
Who do you think?
And regardless of this, the reason they, like you mentioned, they put this in because loot boxes are mostly dead, and they've already moved on to other monetization strategies.
Yes. These people
even if they have other kind of criteria for the warning labels, they'll always think of another way to squeeze every last dime out of people, because service games are in. That is the way to make money.
Yep.
You release a video game, you try and keep people on the hook as long as possible, you give a few options for the whales, and you hope that people buy the game and play it forever.
Yep.
That's the way you do it. That's the move.
And that's why
they've always been this aggressive. And I think my favorite bullshit story about game companies having kind of aggressive monetization strategies is, if you remember, I think we talked about this years and years ago.
Okay.
Parents that had a 4 or 5-year-old that, while the TV was off, had managed to turn on the Xbox and subscribe to Xbox Live Gold. Because at the time, I believe it was on 360, if you turn the console on, the home screen would start at the store page, and if you hit the A button 12 times, it would go into the store. It would go into Xbox Live. It would go into subscriptions. It would default to the Gold package. It would ask you if you want to confirm, and it will use whatever payment information was on file, which the parents had bought a couple games on their Xbox, and they just saved it because it doesn't matter. And the little kid had just sat at the controller and managed to press the A button enough times that they bought a $40 online subscription.
Didn't Microsoft end up changing that, by the way?
Yes, they did. But that was the original design. And there's no way that shit's an accident.
No, it is not.
They will always find a way to do this.
That's why it's so much easier to sign up for something, but to cancel it, you can't just go through the thing. You usually have to fucking call in person.
Hell no. The easiest way to cancel something is to get a new bank.
So
it always has been.
I guess the question I'm asking you, David, is how should I feel about this? I'm going to give you a binary choice. Should I say, good on the ESRB for finally doing what's right? Or should I say, fuck the ESRB for only doing this after they know it's not going to hurt them anymore because no one's really doing it anymore?
It is better than a sharp stick in the end.
That's not what I asked. I'm giving you a binary choice. Yes or no? And if you can't answer it, David, please let us know what you think down in the comments below about this specific thing. I am just so jaded on this because I have seen how the sausage is made for too fucking long at this point that I know stuff like this isn't, like, calculated. I know it's not. You just don't suddenly go, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, we're going to put it in there. Okay, there we go. No, this shit is fucking calculated.
This would have been something that they needed to react to when we had all the issues, when we were complaining about it, when people were pissed about loot boxes and randomized monetization mechanics. This is so after the fact. Everybody just has battle passes now.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like, I think my analogy is apt. This is the cowboy riding into town and saying, I defeated the bandits after the townsfolk stood up and driven them off to begin with.
Yeah.
David,
this is the safety theater of game sales.
I love me some safety theater, as you will know.
Everybody does, man. Taking off your shoes doesn't do shit.
David, as we wonder what the next loot box is going to be, because there's going to be one coming. You know it.
Yeah.
I know it. It's going to be around the corner.
Loot box the game.
Battle Pass seems fine, but it's going to be only so long before they fucking overstep. I get the feeling that time is coming sooner than later. But, in the meantime, to keep myself occupied as we wait for the next thing to bitch about, what can I play?
God, nothing. I don't mean to be that rude, but this isn't my favorite week of releases. But we'll talk about it anyway. First up, PS4, Xbox One, PC, Fallout 76 is getting expansion.
Wow, it turns out there's something to bitch about already. That was quick.
Yeah, Bethesda can suck a butt. Fallout 76 is dumb, but people like it, and if you like it, there's an expansion. I hope you enjoy it. I really sincerely do. If you find value and entertainment in that game, then by all means have tons of fun with it. I'm not one to judge what kind of games you like. And now there's a new storyline, there's a bunch of new quests, NPCs, there's a dialogue system, there's faction, there's allies, there's events, there's quests, weapons, armors, blah blah blah. Shit tons of things. You can read it all on the what's it called? The Fallout 76 blog on the Bethesda site. It does come out this week. People are excited. At least 3 people are excited. I am not one of those 3 people. Also, Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York comes out for Xbox One this week. It's been on PC for a little bit. We talked about it a while ago. It's $20. It's pretty positively reviewed on Steam. This is the game that's set in the Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition universe as a pen and paper RPG brought to life, more or less, in a video game. It's a struggle for power between 2 vampiric factions, the Camarilla and the Anarchs. Those probably mean things if you've played a lot of Vampire the Masquerade, which I only did that one time, and I don't quite remember it. But people seem to like this game, if you're a fan of traditional, more RPG-styled video game. Billion Road hits Switch and PC. This is a strategy board game. It looks very cartoony. Think like a Mario Party without any brand recognition.
Okay.
Well, actually, it's kind of funny. You go through different real-life prefectures and cities throughout Japan. Your goal is to become the richest player in the game. 4 players compete locally and online. It's a tycoon management, like, board game, basically.
So Monopoly.
It's kind of Monopoly, but it looks more like a Mario Party. How's that?
Okay.
Chrono Gear comes out for Xbox One and PC. This is a action RPG platformer game. I think this game looks pretty fun. It's a Metrovania-inspired pixel art platformer set in an open sci-fi world and driven by rewarded exploration. Control the reprogrammed clone Gear. I'm just going to call him Gear, but it's spelled with stupid acronym nonsense. As he discovers the world, learns new abilities, and unveils the mystery of the Emperor AI. It's got kind of a stylish art tail. The music doesn't suck, and I like platformers. So if you like platformers, this game might be fun. Freak Out Calamity TV show comes out for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch this week. My cat is currently getting fed. That's what that noise is. This is a top-down gore action Smash TV style game, which is the best kind of game. It's very intense. It's an old school shooter. It's a twin stick shooter. It's got that kind of pulled back isometric view, but it is a 3D game, so it's not full TV. And this looks just like dumb fun. I don't know that it's multiplayer. I didn't see anything that said it was, but I really hope it is. We might have to look into that. I didn't pay enough attention. Finally,
Who does on this show?
I never have. Finally, Blind Man comes to our PS4, Switch, Xbox One. This is an anime visual novel romance game.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Normally I don't add those to the list, but I saw that and I went, huh, that might be something that's releasing on everything and slapped it on there. So
no, dude, this is a visual novel romance game about a supervillain trying to find love in all the wrong places.
So to pull the curtain back a little bit on how I do new releases here.
Generic Google, copy paste, and then I Google those.
Yeah. So
congratulations, you've been caught up.
Aggregate about 5 different release sites. I will go, that's a phone game. We don't count it. This is a port of a game 5 years ago. We typically don't count that unless it's something that means something to you or I or it's big.
Yeah, half the time I'll pull out early access and other shit.
This is early access. Don't count it there either. And then I go, okay, well, I haven't heard of this, but it's releasing on multiple platforms, so it's probably at least worth mentioning. And then I'll slap it on there. And I don't look at them, though. I just then hand the list off to David, and he researches them.
Most of the time, if it's shenanigans, I'll just delete it. But this is such a slow week for releases. I was like, let's leave this sweet visual novel on there. This is exactly what our fans love. Weird supervillain romance game. Sorry, guys. I can't. It looks so bad.
David, with that is the end of new releases. Forever, it seems.
Yeah, we're done.
And thus, the end of the show. With God willing, forever as well.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you all for showing up. This has been GamePoints episode 214. And if you like what you see here for some god-awful reason, you know what streamers want if you want to support the show. Likes, bits, follows, subscriptions, etc. All that good stuff depending on where you're watching. If you do follow, be sure to turn on notifications when I go live. You can join the greater GamePoints community at the Discord link provided below. Regardless of where you're watching out, once again, feel free to leave questions, comments, concerns, etc. I do want to know what you guys are thinking out there. It actually gives me a better idea of what the pulse of the community is on. We will be back again next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here at Twitch TV/GamePoints. If you can't make it, though, you can always go to youtube.com/GamePointsPC and watch old shows there. You can follow the show on Twitter at GamePointsPC, David there at Palshlife_Satori, and myself at CapitalistPig21. I will be streaming normal games tomorrow, starting with an early access look at Industries of Titan. Full disclosure, I was given that code for free, but I am definitely looking forward to it. It is an Empire City builder on the moon of Titan, and it is in early access. Thank you all for showing up. This has been GamePoints episode 214. Until next time, we're out of here.